How have things been going for you? It's been a rough transition into the ninth wave for me. Nothing really intensely terrible, just very, very heavy. And feeling like I was walking through wet cement, not just my feet either, just the whole of me. Just having to lug around the body has been a challenge. So, that, plus you've seen me working through some challenging energies, and that's been reasonably successful, but sometimes, you hit the nail right on the head, and within a day, sometimes hours, you feel such a lifting of the energy, and I haven't really felt that yet. I do feel about 50 pounds lighter, though, so I thought I'd come and share that it's just been challenging. It's like the weight of the world has been on us, and we've been carrying it in a very special way. I suspect frequencies have gone up again. Something's changed inside. I don't know. Maybe it's the ninth wave thing, but I feel some kind of a shift has gone on, and it's been, gosh, a week or 10 days, for me anyway, that I've been kind of under this. And I'd say it's about 35% loosened up now. Not entirely, but, one foot in front of the other. That's all anyone, anywhere, anytime is ever responsible to do. We buy ourselves trouble when we get into the mind and we get to thinking about, oh, it's been this way forever and it's going to be this way forever, and oh, all the horrible things and predictions and so on that are out there. I mean, come on, I live right here in Arkansas. Uh, I'm on the other side of the state from the New Madrid um, earthquake fault zone, but not so far away. It's in northern Arkansas, and I'm in northern Arkansas, so, but I'm just not concerned. I'm going by heart in this, and you know, it does feel really good to have some basics put back so that, and I'm this way anyway. I mean, when I go to the store, I like to buy for 2 or 3 months. You don't catch me run into the store for this or that little thing. Um, but it feels good. I have some extra things set back now. I've stocked up on my vitamins and sprouting. I'm doing a lot of sprouting these days, and so I have all kinds of seeds. And they'd be great to plant if need be. Some of them can be eaten as nuts, like the raw organic sunflower seeds. But I'm really enjoying soaking them in the purified water and then eating them as the little bitty sprouts. It's a real trip, and I can tell the difference in the energy in my body and in my consciousness based on my diet. Now, that's kind of a tricky thing when you take pharmaceuticals like I do. I mean, I take heavy pain meds, and to be able to be in touch with my body anyway through that, that's a good thing. Our frequencies are just getting higher and higher. We're adapting to that, and it's like wave after wave of challenges seems to keep coming through. But when we consider where we're going, folks, where we're headed, and where we are now, I'm sure everything is just perfect the way it is, even though it seems kind of heavy. Um, Otherwise, things wouldn't go so well for us. when the real intensity of the energy is encountered. Now, at this point, I don't know. It appears that our solar system and our Earth coming into contact with the energy of the galactic plane, the photon belt as they call it, is the thing, is the key, is the trigger to the new Earth that's being birthed. I don't know. It's hard to say. And frankly, it doesn't really matter. It just is what it is. And it's so nice to be able to just get that razor sharp focus on this moment right here, right now. Especially when things get really heavy. That's all you can do. Well, who knows? Maybe that's part of the reason they're getting really heavy personally for all of us in the different specifics of our lives, is to help us get that focus, that razor sharp attunement to the present moment. Now, it doesn't do just a whole lot of good to be in the present moment if we're in the mind. Because it's like, you know, a dozen squirrels in those cages where they have those little wheels just going clickety clack. And you know, that's not so restful. That's not so peaceful. And if you look at your mind's thinking, if you watch and observe, all of it will take you out of the present moment. The present moment isn't thought about. It's experienced. And it's experienced best either in the absence of thought or with the focus completely away from the thought. Thought won't hurt you. It's listening to it, it's believing it. That's the problem. Thought itself is perfectly innocent. Well, maybe not all thoughts. I know that there's technology being used to try to sway people and to control them, and oh my God, you know, the waking up that the general populace has yet to do to the absolute perfidy, the atrocities that have been practiced as a regular business as usual on the people is, let's just hope we're all a lot closer to higher consciousness when everyone gets around to finding out how dirty and rotten and ugly things are behind the scenes. And it's not so much even behind the scenes anymore. In the 8th level of the Mayan calendar, which it took us about 12 or 13 years to get through, that was the time when ethics and integrity was supreme. And that was pretty much the first season and cycle when we began to see things like Enron and people getting exposed for the kind of things that have been going on all along anyway, but behind the scenes, business as usual. You know, like Louisiana politics, everybody knows it's dirty and it's rotten, and they just say, oh well. But that hasn't been the way of the last 13 years. Things changed, and they changed in a very big way. And it has become quite regular now for these things to get exposed. Now we have an interesting group that is, well, they're not threatening to take Bank of America down, but, you know, Anonymous, I guess they're called, I don't know, is the WikiLeaks type of a thing. You know, there are bank memos and so on exposing the fraud. There are purported to be. bank memos and things that are purported to be exposing the fraud and the regular day-to-day dirty dealings of the banksters. And now this isn't everyone who works in a bank. Oh my God. Not even. Certainly not the tellers and the little guys. I mean, they're not responsible for any of this stuff. We all are, in a way, because we all let it happen. We sheepled along very nicely, let ourselves be controlled, and let things get to this state to where now everywhere you look, everything's poisoned, or they're trying to. I mean, a baby's not out of the womb before they're wanting to stick needles in it and, poke his little heel and just pollute the consciousness. So we're waking up, and we're waking up to quite a mess. But you know what the best defense is? And the best offense? Higher consciousness. I watched a really neat video, and I'll close with this, where I even forget what the point of the little seminar was that was being given, but the man used, I forget what they call it, muscle testing, to illustrate how if someone holds a really negative thought about someone else, even if it's not true, the presenter invented a negative thought about the volunteer that was up there with him. And he didn't tell him, he didn't say anything, but he said, and it's not going to be true. And so he held that thought, and he muscle tested the guy before and after, and sure enough, he was weaker after. Now, that's not the only thing that's interesting. It spread to the whole audience. He had everybody muscle test in the audience as well to get in pairs. Where you hold your arm out and somebody tries to push it down, and it just, your muscles are kind of a way to communicate with your body's intelligence, instead of just the brain or the mind. And I have forgotten, kinesiology is what it's called. Anyway, it influenced the whole audience. And then he said, now, there's a way to defend yourself against this. What it does is it shows us how when others hold negative opinions or ideas about us, it's a weakening thing. It's not good. And the way he showed to defend against it was so beautiful. He told the guy, now, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to pick another negative thought about you. Well, I got ahead of myself. He did a before and after. He had the negative thought and it weakened him, and then he didn't have the negative thought anymore, and the guy was strong again. So then he said, now, I'm going to do this again. I'm going to think something negative about you. And while I'm doing it, I want you to send me good vibes, good feelings, just send me blessings, And then when he tested him afterwards, the guy was still very strong. So our armor, our shield, our everything is the light, is the truth itself, is love. That's the best defense. It withers the demons. Think of the witch in the Wizard of Oz thing, I'm melting, I'm melting. Well, our light will do that to the dark force. And so there's no need to go to war and gut them and all that horrible stuff, Be the light being that we are. Peaceful non-compliance with their, with their bullshit rules, regulations, orders, commands, and just take over of our life. Enough. Enough. Peaceful non-compliance. Go for it, and do it in a very good mind and heart and attitude. Just be happy. Be happy. They can't stand it when we're happy. Good day. How have things been going for you? It's been a rough transition into the ninth wave for me. Nothing really intensely terrible, just very, very heavy. And feeling like I was walking through wet cement, not just my feet either. It's about 35% loosened up now, not entirely, but, one foot in front of the other. That's all anyone, anywhere, anytime is ever responsible to do. We buy ourselves trouble when we get into the mind and we get to thinking about, oh, it's just the whole of me. Just having to lug around the body has been a challenge. So that, plus you've seen me working through some challenging energies. And that's been reasonably successful, but sometimes, you hit the nail right on the head. Special way. I suspect frequencies have gone up again. Something's changed inside. I don't know. Maybe it's the ninth wave thing. But I feel some kind of a shift has gone on, and it's been, gosh, a week or 10 days, for me anyway, that I've been kind of under this. And I'd say, and within a day, sometimes hours, you feel such a lifting of the energy. And I haven't really felt that yet. I do feel about 50 pounds lighter, though. So I thought I'd come and share that it's just been challenging. It's like the weight of the world has been on us, and we've been carrying it in a very special